Hi, this is Mike, Family DIY TV, and I'm in the middle of a bathroom, and I am in the middle of a kitchen renovation. As you can see, everything is torn apart and kind of put back together, ceiling. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk about plumbing, and we're talking about gas plumbing. So my house is actually a full electric house, and a couple years ago I converted the stove, boom, to propane, okay? And it was actually in this spot right here. But now that we're moving the kitchen, we actually removed the wall here, we now need to move the stove. So what I'm gonna do is I'm kind of gonna go through the process of setting up the regulator outside. This is the regulator, boom. And I'll try to put a link to all this stuff down below, but kind of go through the process of doing all the plumbing, what you need to look out for, things like that. So let's get into it. All right, so this video is for entertainment purposes only. I would not mess with gas if you're not comfortable with it. I want to show you that this is possible, okay? More so than showing you how to do it. I'm just gonna kind of show you my process. Look at all your code at your local
jurisdictions and everything like that.
So this is where my gas, this is the back of the unit, of course, right? All right, and I have a basement under here. So you can see the pipe is running into the basement. That's actually where I'm gonna have all my shutoffs and everything, just to keep the back of this stove nice and clean. So let's go down into the basement. All right, so let's talk about the plumbing. All right, so this is the pipe coming into the house up there. That's the pipe we need to connect to, okay? So this is the pipe we need to connect to. This goes through the appliance. This is gonna go to the pipe that's coming into the house, okay? So the pipe's gonna come this way. We're gonna 90 into this nipple here. I think this is like a 4-inch nipple, to a shutoff, to I think it's a 1-inch nipple, and then this is to the end of the line to the appliance, okay? Now what you can see here, when I went to Depot, I bought a bunch of stuff. This is the old stuff, but you can see all the fittings that I bought. Because I didn't know exactly how this thing was gonna lay out. I had a loose idea, but when I got to the store, the first thing that I needed, they didn't have. So I had to kind of compromise and come up with a new plan. And just in case, I had this other stuff. So whenever you do plumbing, any kind of plumbing, I always recommend buy more stuff. You can always return it. It's a lot better than being halfway through the project and having to run back to Home Depot. That is the worst. So now one thing with gas pipe is, this black pipe is, you have to kind of think about how you're gonna put it together. You can't just start from one end and work to the other. For example, my elbow, if I connect this elbow in and I connect all these pieces in, there's no way I'd ever be able to get that elbow onto this line, right? Because it's in here. So I need to put the elbow on here first. You know what? I don't need to then put this elbow on and then put each piece on. I could build this whole thing on the ground, make sure it's all tight at very comfortable position, and then at the end, screw it onto this pipe here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this all together on the ground and then connect it into here. Okay, what tools are we gonna need to do this project? Most likely a tape measure, probably not required, but you definitely need some kind of drills to get through walls, and you're gonna need pipe wrenches.
All right, gas should always be done by a licensed professional at a particular amount.
All right, so to make a tight fitting between these, all right, we can see this is actually tapered, and it does make a pretty tight seal, but it's not perfect. It's not gas tight, airtight, watertight. So what we need to use is a pipe dope, and you have to make sure that whatever you're using, so this is for propane, make sure it's okay for propane. Not all pipe dope is good for everything. And there's almost like a belt and suspenders thought out there, and I've seen this, and I kind of like the idea. There's also pipe tape as well. We're gonna use that as well. So we're gonna first put the tape on, just a couple runs around the pipe, and then we're gonna put some dope on it.
All right, gas should always be done by a licensed professional.
Okay, this is where the pipe wrench is gonna come into play. Okay, so now we're going to attach this copper shutoff valve to the black pipe. In this case, we need a monkey wrench and we need an adjustable wrench. Okay, same process, tape and dope. This is really important. When you apply your tape, you want to apply it clockwise. Why does that matter and what does that even mean? Okay, so if you're looking at the pipe straight on, so if you're looking at it this way, you want to go clockwise, right? So I'm looking at it, I want to go 1, 2, 3, I want to go this way. The reason why is when you screw this on, you're going to be screwing this on clockwise. And if you did it the opposite way, when you screwed this fitting on, you'd actually be unrolling the tape, okay? If you've made that mistake before, you know, it happens, okay? And if we don't do this every day, you're going to do it again. So make sure you do it clockwise. Now we're going to put some dope on here. And, you know, I make a mess of this stuff, but it's okay. Just the only thing you want to make sure is you don't get it inside here, all right? So once you're done putting everything together, you can clean the fitting off to make it look pretty. Now let's talk about the regulator. So this is actually a regulator you can get for like a camper. They're made to be pretty rugged. I mean, if you imagine it's on a camper, driving down the road, being banged around. So these things work very well. I have an automatic one, so basically you can connect 2 tanks to it. You can see the pigtails here. Again, I'll put a link to this stuff. I'll try to do that. Remember to do that below. It's got a 3/8 outlet. So what I'm doing is I'm converting from 3/8 to 1/2 inch. Okay, so you can see that that's how that's connected in there. And then we're just going to connect our 1/2 inch into here. Okay, this will be our regulator setup. All right, so we're back downstairs. So now we have our pipe coming in and we have our pipe that we need to connect to, all right? So this is going to go here. We're gonna put a 90 up there. Now, this is gonna be the toughest part because it's so tight up there. So that's why I did a lot of this as much as I could out of the bays. All right, so this is what we're looking at. The pipe is now in, nice and secure, it doesn't move. We got our shut off right here and the line goes up there. It's all been tested. So I use this leak detector and all you do is you spray it on right on the fitting like so. And if there's a leak, it'll bubble. Also, if there's a leak, you would smell it. As a double check, you know, belts and suspenders, I also have one of these. This is a blow up gas detector. I forget what it's called, but it's a detector that goes off if there's any gas in the air. Now, when I was taking this apart, it started going off and it was barely any propane in that line. So this thing does work. So I'll put a link to this actually down below as well, but I'm gonna leave this. So now you may be wondering, or maybe not be wondering, where does your gas come from, Mike? My gas comes from a 20-pound propane tank. So I have 2 of them hooked up to the regulator outside. Each one of those lasts about 2 months. We do a ton of cooking here, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, family of 5. They run great. If you want to know more about my setup, kind of the propane tanks, do they work, kind of busting all the myths and maybe misconceptions about it, check out this video up here. Or at the end of the video, I talk more about, get more into the price, where I get my propane, how long does the propane last, etc., etc., etc. So check that video out at the end of this. All right, so that is it. That is how you hook up a propane stove and do all the plumbing. I want you guys to hit me up. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those should all be right here. And with that, I'm Mike, Family DIY TV. Please like, please subscribe.
All right, gas should always be done by a licensed professional.